All right, so we here again, continuing with our lesson, going through the 10 Commandments, and presenting the question every week about each individual commandment, whether it's good or bad to do what it's saying, which is what a lot of the church teaches today, that the 10 Commandments are done away with, and you don't have to do them because we have a higher law, which I don't know of a higher law than what Yah actually write with his own finger. But last week we went over that we shouldn't have any idols or anything, a graven image of things in heaven above or below that we supposed to bow down to. And it's just funny, it seems like after every lesson throughout the week, I'll see stuff kind of like what we were talking about go forth. Like last week, this morning, I was actually showing your mom an article, well, a video actually from Dr. Mumbi, where this Catholic church in Africa had put this statue up of an angel, a white angel with white wings, dressed like a Roman soldier, standing on top of a black demon with his head, his foot on the demon's head, and on the demon's middle part, his crouch area. And I just thought about it, what better thing to do for not, because the Catholic Church is just a continuation of Babylonianism, which was, denying what Yah had told man to do, because, unbeknownst to a lot of people, the 10 Commandments was just codified by Yahuah at Mount Sinai, but the world, especially those that before the flood, they already knew what they were and were not supposed to do. They already knew that. That's why when Abel killed Cain killed Abel, and Yah came and he said, "Where is thy brother?" He said, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And he said, "His blood is crying out from the ground. What hast thou done?" He knew that he had done wrong. He didn't have to tell him that he had done something wrong, even though it was the first murder, because Yah had told man what? He said, when he told Adam and Eve that the day that thou sin, thou shalt surely die. So they knew what death was. They knew what spiritual death, but then the physical part came. And so just to look at the Catholic Church with it dealing with idols, with all the different idols that it has, and then this transferred over to the quote-unquote Protestant church or whatever, but they just changed it where you're not bowing down supposedly to, but you still got the idols. So they said, well, we're not bowing down, and put up the image. And then the article or video that I showed your mom this morning, where the white men that had the typical white Jesus look were in Africa, and they was going through these places in Africa, and the people was literally worshiping them because they said, "You look like the painting that I have on the wall," when Yah had told us not to make any graven images. So what better confusion to tell you that the 10 are done away with? And we came to the conclusion, with the word of course, but also just with the fact that it is something that we are able to do. We are able not to have any other Elohims or gods before him. We are able to not make any graven image and bow down to it in our houses, to take down the white, the black, the red, the gray, whatever color Jesus you got or Yeshua you got on the wall, to take it down and burn it. Any painting, any book, anything, take it out, because it is something that Yah detests, and we gonna, he wouldn't have put it, those first couple of commandments that he put were all things dealing with him, and that meant that he wanted you to know this is some of the things that really make me mad. So what better way for the devil to make Yah a liar than to turn around just like he did in the Garden of Eden. He said, hold up, Yah didn't really say that you was going to die when you partook of the fruit. And the woman said, yeah, he might be right. So here comes his commandments. He said, yeah, you got the painting of the white Yeshua, Jesus on the wall, but he don't really mean that you can't have anything. Did he really mean that? That's why the Bible said that it was not in the end, because when Yeshua came, he said there's a broad way that leads to destruction. He said many go that way. He said, but there's a narrow way that leads to salvation, and few that find it. And that was from the time that Yeshua was on the earth to now. So now, and we're gonna get to the lesson real quick, I promise. But the thing came to my mind, and somebody really pointed it out, that the three quote-unquote major religions in the world are Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And these are, okay, Christianity, now you get in Christianity, you get the ones that say, well, I'm not Catholic, I'm Protestant, or I'm Baptist, or whatever. But you're still under that Christian umbrella. And there's several billion people in the world that say that they're Christians. There's several billion people in the world that say that they are Islamists. There's, I ain't gonna say billion, maybe a couple, maybe several million, maybe 100 million, or a little more than that, of people that claim Judaism. When I say Judaism, I'm not talking about, follow what the Bible said, but this Talmudism, you might as well say, that follow that. So would not you consider, if these are the top three, wouldn't you consider those to be the broad way? Huh? But most would say, well, you can't, everybody in there ain't falling after the devil. But that's why in the book of Revelations, what did Yeshua tell John to tell the people? He said, come out from among the Babylonians. If you really following me, you need to come out of it. And he said that back in the book of Revelations. He didn't say that was just for later on today, because some people say, well, the church needs to go back. No. The vision that John had, or Yochanan had on the Isle of Patmos, was dealing with after the way, the truth, and the light was taken over by the Gentiles, and they called it something called Christianity, and the Catholicism rose up, and then after Catholicism, they had Protestantism that broke away, but it was still part of it. He said, come out of that system. That's why you can always go back and look. People was always seeing stuff in there that was wrong, and it was breaking away from it and trying to, but somehow always they would get drawn back in, because it's so powerful. Because if you separate yourself from it, you separating yourself from being quote unquote successful in the eyes of the world. Well, if you really want to do this, you gotta celebrate these things, because this is what everybody does. And you can see it. How is it that you got people that don't even have anything to do with the religion of Christianity celebrating? Well, they may not think they celebrating Christmas, but you even see people that are Muslim people, kind of getting in on this thing. And then when Easter comes around, and then when all these other pagan holidays that they gave Christian names, you see other people that's not quote-unquote Christian that feel comfortable participating in it. Well, I can get a new suit too, even if I don't believe in, Yeshua, because for us as black people, that's what it really means, dressing up, coming fashion show in church, taking the communion, which we found out about the communion and everything, and going to church with your mother or your grandmother or whatever, and to break free from this stuff. So, it's just patently obvious, but because we got that veil over us, over all as a people, now that we're trying to break free of it, we got to stick to it. We can't give up the ship. We got to stay on the ship of Yeshua. Because remember, and we're going to get ready to go in the lesson after this, remember that Noah made the ship, the ark, big enough for a certain amount of people to be able to get on, not just for the animals. Now, when I went back and thought about it, obviously, if Yah made that ark, he was knowing that the whole world population was not going to get on that ark. He knew that, because we know before the flood, there was way more people on this earth than they are now. There was billions upon billions upon billions of people, because if you got a man that was living several hundred years and producing all kinds of children, you know this world, and they didn't have no oceans back then. The world was, you know, watered by the mist. But look at all those people that Yah allowed to be consumed by the waves. So what does that say about today that we're living in, when we got the world, they said, population is 7 billion people? What does that say today? It's very scary. I think we talked about it last year when we made a rough calculation, and I asked Micah to kind of go over what he thought, you know, 8 souls out of whatever, how many that would be today. And so we're going to go into Exodus 20 again. Exodus, the 20th chapter, and we're going to read verse 7, and we're going to read it out of the Sefer, what it says in the Sefer, and then we're going to go into our lesson. Okay, Exodus 20 and 7 out of the Sefer, he said, you shall not take the name of Yahuah Elohayka in vain, for Yahuah will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. So that is the third commandment that we're going to deal with, taking the name of the Yahuah in vain. Now, for the purposes of this lesson, we might go back and forth with the name God or Yahuah, just because people that might watch it might say, well, you know, God is God. But this is going to be one of the key things that we're going to key in on, is what is his name. Because, again, what would give the enemy power than to tell you that, yeah, the name don't really mean that much. So what Satan is good at is trying to preempt Yah, even though we know Yah knows what he's going to do. When I'm talking about preempt Yah, I mean against us. Yah already knows. That's why he let Satan do it. Because just like with Job, Yah said, I know those is going to stand for me. Therefore, Satan, I'll let you sift Job, because I know he's not going to bow. But he said, I know that there's some that will be sifted and shaken and fall out. And that's what I want. I want the chaff to be blown away. But those that are mine, those that are the wheat, they can be sifted, because I know that they're going to come through. So just to the fact that, okay, well, why come everybody don't grab hold to the fact that Yah his name is a particular way? It goes back to those that diligently seek him. There's people that diligently seek Yah and find out certain things. They might not get hold to it all at one time, because actually, like we've been saying throughout the lessons, obviously we would not be here studying this stuff if we had known it, but we was diligently seeking Yah to find these things. That's why we was probably up and down, or we could have just stayed in the Christian church and just played the role, going to the Easter ceremony, put on a Skittles suit and floss and flash, and paid our money and got position, and then got a church, and then have people bow down and worship us and give us lots of money, and people just pat us on the back and tell you so godly when you got a boyfriend on the side or you got a girlfriend on the side, and that's just the way it is because we ain't perfect here and all this other kind of madness. We could have just stayed there and did that, but obviously we sought something different, because if you even go to the book of Hebrews, and I thought about it, the Hebrews, what they call the Hall of Fame in the book of Hebrews, everything he talked about, the people that he was talking about were people out of the Old Testament. If you look at every situation that these people were in, so these people was basically despised and dejected by society, even back then. Yeah. Moses, Isaiah, all these people, he said they were living in holes. They was outcasts even from Israel. They was outcasts for trying to serve Yah.
Yes.
So when we come along in here, especially coming out of slavery, we want to be accepted. We want to be light, and Satan puts that upon us. And I think that's why integration was so appealing to some black people, that, man, I can get these people to finally embrace me, not understanding that was never to be. We wasn't supposed to be, because it was just some kinds of ways that the enemy, or I ain't gonna say the enemy per se, but the ways of those that had oppressed us, there will never be that. It was just like trying, like the Bible said in Daniel, the iron and the clay would not stay together, and actually they would start coming apart. You could try to force them together, but eventually it would start coming apart. That the things that we had in us, innate in us, would be antithesis. Just like we said a couple of months ago, when we said that when they say Yah or saying certain things, it doesn't have the same meaning to them as it does to us. Mm-hmm. And so when we talk about the name of Yah, what we find is, back then it was no doubt that Yah's name was Yah and Yahuah and all these other things. There was no need for them to distinguish. But after the Gentile powers got hold to it, and the Bible was put in Greek, and then it was translated into other cultures, because Yah basically allowed them to take it, because we didn't want to do nothing right with it.
Yes.
Indeed, how the message of Yeshua got messed up was indeed because of us. Mm-hmm. You know, our people, especially after 70 AD, and especially after the people of Yah said that they had no other king but Caesar, and they rejected Yeshua. He said, okay, well, it's just like when Paul was going to different places and speaking in the name of Yeshua, and the people that was rejecting it, not all of them, because it was a lot of them that was receiving Yeshua, but a lot of them was not receiving the name of Yeshua. And he said, okay, if you don't want to go to it, I got these Gentiles that's been coming to the sanctuary, receiving these things about Yah. He said, I'm going to start going to them too. And so once the message got taken over by the Gentiles, of course they're going to change the name to their name. Just they're going to change Yeshua's name to Jesus, or Isus, as they did first. But then, as we seen, me and your mom seen last week, some of the Gentiles back there knew that Yeshua's name was Yeshua and Yahuah, like William Tyndale. They knew that. They put it in their Bible. But if you want to take away the identity of the people and the region where it comes, what are you going to put the focus on? You're going to put the focus on where you at, on Europe. So Isus, then we know that was in the 1611 Bible. There was no J, no for Jehovah, none of that. It was Yah with the Y. The name, the proper name of Yah was taken away. Now, because Yah is a all-knowing Yah, when those that don't know, don't understand the language and transliteration, and this is what they got, Yah, in your ignorance, he'll overlook it. But once you know, that's the thing that you got to strive to try to do better. But we didn't know. And even we know that even during the Dark Ages, when the Catholic Church had taken all the manuscripts and everything, we know that they hid them in the Vatican and they put everything in Latin. So if a person would have been saying the name of Yah in Latin and with the sincerity of their heart, been seeking out the Yah, Yah is not going to say, well, you don't know the Hebrew name. You know, some people could not read and write. They was not given the opportunity to learn. They barely knew except what Yah, what the the Catholic Church allowed to be put in. So that if you catch hold to the faith of who Yah is and his son, that is what is important at the time. He'll build it back up. Because you can read throughout the Old Testament and see where even in the time that the Hebrews lived in the land, they were calling Yah Baal. They was calling him Baal because they said Baal just means Lord, like you or Elohim. He said, no, it's not. Even when they was worshiping at the grove, and Yah had continuously, I think we talked about this a couple of years ago, he had to continuously challenge them on calling him after the name of another Elohim or God. So get into the sacred name, because what happened was Satan preempted people in the understanding of what the Hebrew name of him was, coming out of the Europeans coming over here to America, supposedly for religious freedom from the Catholic Church or whatever, and ability to worship Yah the way they wanted to, and break away and have more freedom of thought or whatever. That coming out of slavery, after they had taught us their ways and everything, there was an interest peaked in going back into what the original languages and meanings of stuff was, so that people would say, well, that's God, Lord, Jesus, all that. People started investigating back in the 1900s, what was the real name. And around I guess beginning of the 1900s, they had something called the Sacred Name Movement. Now, where they put it, it was kind of like they tried to make it seem like it was a pagan thing, but you had actually Caucasian people that said, hey, we want to know what the name, the real Hebrew name. We want to know about the feast and everything, because basically, I guess they could see that the Gentiles taking the message of Yeshua had turned it into their own pagan thing called Christianity. And they want to actually get back to what they call the Hebrew roots. Because it's around that time also that the thought of England and all the Gentile powers replacing Israel, a lot of people, white theologians started looking and saying, well, I don't know about that. England to us is not New Jerusalem. And the country of England is not, the 10 tribes is not Europe and Britain. It is the actual people. Now, we know that those people back then knew it, some of them that is, knew it was us. But there was a move to try to get back to, hey, maybe the people of Yah haven't been cast aside, and maybe Europeans haven't replaced them. So they was trying to get back to that. And so you had the movement where they was coming, what was the name of Yah? What is his name? And it was called the Sacred Name Movement. And so they got into learning what the languages were, and they went between J and Y and all these other things. And of course, it was painted as a cult because it was associated with the Jehovah Witness. Jehovah Witness and Seventh-day Adventists, as we know, are cults. They are. But the thought of what they was trying to do was not bad. It's just that even in them reaching that conclusion, they was reaching it through a occultic means. That's why some of them were saying, well, you know, that's where they came in with some of the teachings about Yeshua being the son, being the brother of Satan, or being the archangel Michael. So they was getting on to something, but it was in the wrong vein. But it was bringing up the fact that they knew that the name of Yah was not God and not Lord and not Jesus, that he had a name. Just like if I go to another country and they say, well, we cannot pronounce your name, so we're going to say your name in our foreign language. I would say, no, you don't have to. I can tell you how to pronounce my name. My name is blah, blah, blah. So just, can you mind saying my name, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to translate. I'm here right now. I can tell you my name. You don't have to translate it. So that they're saying that is just right. If you know what the person's actual name coming out of their name, does that mean that it discredits all those before that didn't know how to say his name in their proper name? No, we're not saying that. But now that you know, let's say his name. What's so hard about saying Yeshua? Well, that's just not me. Okay, well, I'm not going to pound on you, because I think about David. When he went out to Goliath, Saul had tried to give him his armor and his sword and all this. And David said, I have not tried them. They can't fit on me. I don't know how to wield them. So I would say it's the same thing. At first, as you start, it's not going to fit. You're going to be like, well, I'm just used to saying the name of Yeshua, Jesus, or whatever. But as you start to understand, it'll be like David, because as he grew and became a man, he was able to start putting on armor and start girding a sword on him. He wasn't going into battle with no slingshot when he was leading those armies later on. He grew into it. So it's the same with us. That's why he said when you was a child, you spoke as a child, but as you grew as and spiritually as an adult, we can say the thing is to build up your confidence in the fact that I'm not changing my confidence in who he is. It's just that I know his name, and so I'm just gonna say his name. I'm not saying I'm believing in a different person. It's just that I know his name. Or like when you grow up and you call your grandma, you call her Yaya, but then somebody said, well, what's grandma's real name? Her name is what? What was your grandma's real name?
Eva.
Eva. So if you say Eva, she ain't gonna say, well, why you calling me Eva? You know? Now, of course, we know in the black community, you never called a person by they, you know, we call, but if you did, I don't think she would say, ah. But that's her real name. Her name is not grandma. Her name is Eva. You know, her name is Eva. Or mine, like you sometimes you see kids call their parents by their first name. You know, I don't think anything wrong. They have that understanding that they, mom, dad, or whatever. That is my synonym for you, but your real name is Tony. Or Tanya is my mama's name. I never called her Tanya because I just don't feel. So it's really a feeling. It would be nothing wrong with you calling your mother by her first name, unless they told you, I don't want you to call me by first name. I just want to keep that child-parent relationship. But you are calling them by their real name, and Yah has no problem. Most of the time, when we pray to him, we call him Father or whatever. But when we talk to people about their name, or I said, my father's name is not Father. My father's name is so-and-so, or my mother's name is so-and-so. I don't tell you, what's the name of your mother? Oh, her name is Mama. You're going to tell them what their name is. Now, when you approach them, then you might. So this is what we dealing with right here. The semantics of people saying, this is a sacred name, or they think they weird, and they think they're going to get inroads with Yah or God before me. No, it's not. I just want to say his real name. Because he said, don't take his name in vain. So I need to know what is his name. His name is not God. His name is not Lord. His name is Yahuah. And his son's name is Yeshua. So let's break this thing down. He said, don't take the name in his name in vain. The word take is the word nasa in Hebrew. It means to lift or to bear or to carry. Basically, like I said, it's more than his name talking about. He talking about your life too. You shall not take his name in vain, meaning not just when you speak, but also the life. He said, what the New Testament say? He said, let those that name the name of Yeshua HaMashiach depart from iniquity, right? So it was the same back there when they said Yahuah, God for some of you, Lord or whatever. He said, don't take my name in vain by the way that you live. Because people are saying, those people that believe in Yahuah, look at what they doing. They burning their children in the fire. They doing everything like we do toward our Elohim or God. So he said, don't do that. Don't carry my name in vain. And this is another thing. Nothing, you know, male chauvinist here. This is just a point I'm making. The word his name, his. It's a noun masculine. Meaning that there's no way that you can get a feminine name for Yah, even if you named him something else. He is a man. The Bible says he is a man of war. He is not a thing of war. He is a man of war. He is a masculine. Yah is masculine. He is not a hermaphrodite between man and woman. He is all man. Man was made in his image. He said the man was created first. Why? Because he was created in the image of Yah. Yeah. Masculine. It meant reputation, his glory, his fame, his memorial, his name. His name, Yahuah Elohayka, meaning the Elohim, your Elohim, meaning, okay, he is everybody, but when he was talking about him, you not taking, he was making it personal. He said, don't you take his name in vain. Don't you take his name in vain. He said, I'm not worried about what everybody else does. I'm talking to you. It was almost like Yah was looking down from Mount Sinai, Mount Horeb, and said, don't you take my name in vain. Don't you, Yahuah Elohayka. In vain means emptiness or vanity, falsehood, emptiness of speech, lying, falsehood, lies. Meaning, the Most High told me to tell you. Okay, well, they'll just say what we said before we knew his name. We said God, because even me and your mom grew up, that's what we knew. We didn't know this. Obviously, there was people in the world that knew this, but we didn't know. But even with the word God, we said, hey, don't take the name of God in vain. Not understanding God is just a generic thing. But even with that, we were like, man, don't mess with God's name, man. Don't take his name in vain, man. We were scared to do that. Especially like, you know, when lightning come or something. My mom said, that's God speaking and everything, you know, like that. But he said there's some people that speak that name with emptiness. It doesn't really mean nothing. It doesn't carry no weight to them when they say God. Which gets us to the fact when black people start appearing on these award shows and putting award shows on, what was the first thing a lot of them would get up there and say, I give honor to God who is the head of my life. That we've started finding out that a lot of these people that was saying the name God, which like again said we know his name is Yahuah, but that's all we knew, that they was actually not talking about the Elohim that we was talking about in heaven. They was talking about the Elohim of this world, Satan, that they was saying. But even with that, we was like, see, everywhere we go, man, we get honor to God. But we didn't know that a lot of them people that had got into that, they was talking about the God of this earth. We say with a little g. We say, but falsehood, prophesying. Oh, God told me that's going to be your wife. He said, don't take his name in vain doing stuff like that. Or prophesying and saying, putting his name and say that he told you to do that. He said, that's carrying my name in vain. He said, I will not hold you guiltless. Meaning he wouldn't clear you. Or you would not be innocent. Or you would not be exempt from punishment. He would not leave you unpunished if you take his name in vain. He said he won't do it. Whether or not you did it in innocency or not. He said, I'm not gonna let you get off this easy. So let's go to some scriptures real quick to kind of back up what we just got through saying about his name. Okay, and we're gonna go to the book of Genesis, the 12th chapter, and I want somebody to, I'm gonna do Genesis 12 and 8. Then I want somebody to do Genesis 13 and 4. Then I want somebody to do Genesis 16 and 13. And then somebody do Genesis 21 and 33. We're going to try to get through all the scriptures if we can. Instead of reading everything, we'll just read one. We'll break it down from there. But I'm going to go ahead and we're gonna try to stick with one book at a time and work our way through it. So I'm going to start out with Genesis 12 and 8. See, Genesis 12 and 8 says, and he removed from thence unto a mount on the east side of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar before the Elohim, and called upon the name of he built an altar unto the master, and called upon the name of Elohim. Now this is Abram. When Abram first came out of Ur the Chaldees, he heard the voice of, I guess, inclination of Yah to tell him to come out. And the very first place that he called on the name. Now, what we find is, this is what I believe in, just studying, that in the garden, Adam and Eve, or Adam and Hawa, knew what Yah's name was. But after mankind had failed, Yah kind of hid his name from them, and he just in a succession, especially after the flood, start bringing back to remembrance to mankind his name, so that when because Abram had came out of a place where they was worshiping many gods, so he probably maybe knew a little bit about what had happened in the flood, but he didn't know. So, and at that time, when they mostly called on the name of we call God, they called the name El. El means God, and I guess in the time back then, or the word Elohim, El. That's that E-L, El. But that was a kind of a generic name for a bunch of other gods too that had the name El too. That's why if you go to some of these Egyptian sites, Hotep sites, they'll try to tell you what they was calling on foreign gods of Els too, because El can mean anything. But Yah, when he called on that name, Yah knew who he was talking to. He said, I call on you, El, Bethel. Bethel means a house, Yah's house, God's house, Bethel. So he was he removed, and he pitched his tent. He built an altar, and because without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sin. He understood that I had to make, I had to cleanse myself before Yah will hear my prayer. And that's how they would, most of the time when they would call on Yah, they would offer up a lamb or whatever for their sin, and then they would get down and they would bow and pray to Yah. And so here, with the very first instance, you see where they built an altar. Well, Abraham called on Yah, so he called him El, which built an altar. So let's go to 13 and 4. Somebody get 13 and 4.
Genesis 13 and 4. Until the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Elohim.
Okay, so here he went back to the same place. He went back to Bethel, the house of Yah. And there he called on him again. He called on the name of Yah, El. Okay, going to 16 and 13. Got it, Mike?
Yes.
Read it.
And she called the name of the Elohim that spake unto her. thou Elohim seest me. For she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me?
All right. And go read verse 13 too.
Wherefore the well was called Heroi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Beri.
Okay, so here's a Hagar, the Egyptian. This is why Yah says the Egyptians are his people. He revealed himself to Hagar, the angel of Yahuah. He revealed himself to her, and she said, look, I see that he sees me. He knows me. He's looking after me. He's looking after me. So not only did Abram get a revelation to call his name, but also Hagar got the revelation to call his name. And like I said, it was a progression. They didn't, because we're going to find out later that, he's going to say something about the name that he revealed himself. So what is it is a revelation that Yah reveals himself to you through. And so with us, it was the same thing. He revealed himself to us through the name of Jesus and God. Because, of course, we wasn't prepared, ready to get into the different names and everything, or the real name. But he understood because he revealed himself through that name. That doesn't mean that you, like you said, when you grow up, you call your mom name Mom. But later on you say, oh, my mom name was so-and-so. You know what their real name is, but you know the person. The most important thing is that you know the person whose name you calling on, whether you got that name or name that maybe somebody else. So I don't call your mom, your dad, such and so. I call your dad Jimmy the Cricket. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So you understand what I'm saying? I know Yah back then as God. I haven't stopped knowing him because now that that same person, now that I call him Yahuah, I don't stop knowing him. I just now I know his name, and I might even sometimes say God, but that doesn't mean that I'm intentionally trying to do it. It's just that familiarity. But the thing is, it was a group of people that tried to take us away from calling him that name, because if you're in a crowd and you hear and your mom and then hear 1,000 people saying mom, 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 but then you say whatever they name, they were like, okay, I know their voice and they calling my name. Mm-hmm. What's your mom? And Jacqueline. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to distinguish yourself and you was in a crowd and 1 million people were saying mom, and you said, well, I needed my mom to know who I am. And I say, Jacqueline! He said, that sounds like my daughter's voice, and she's calling me by my name, my real name, not just Ma. Because I hear 1,000 people calling me Ma, but she's saying my real name. So my ears appear perk up when I hear that. So I think it's the same for me, where I believe now that we know his name. Not that he's not hearing those people that are sincere of heart, that are saying God or Jesus or whatever, but us that's saying, it's like, oh man, I like to hear that, because that means they are trying to know me. They're trying to learn me. Learn of me. Y'all said, Yeshua said, learn of me. My yoke is easy and my burdens are light. Okay? Okay, go on to 21 and 33.
And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God.
Mm-hmm. See, here we go again. He built another altar and he called on, and let me see what it says here. It says, 33, and it has, go to Deuteronomy, it goes to Genesis 4 and 26. 4 and 26 is, what's that say? Genesis 4 and 26. Genesis 4 and 26 says, and to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Elohim. So even throughout here, throughout the Genesis, you see where men began. Men began to call on his name. They began to call on his name. He wanted them to distinguish them, you know. Okay, so now we're going to go to Exodus. We're going to go to Exodus. Let's go to Exodus. I'm going to do Exodus 3, 13 through 15, and I want somebody to get Exodus 5 and 23. Then I want somebody to get Exodus 6 and 3. And then I need somebody to get Exodus 9 and 16. Okay? Talking about his name. Is it okay to call him by his real name? It looks like here that as far as understanding of what they understood Yah's name, and think about it, the Hebrew quote-unquote language was not, it was a Semitic or kind of, remember, because at the beginning there was one language for everybody, right? Then as they devolved down, you got the Semitic languages, then you got the Hamitic languages, and then you got Japhetic languages. Abraham at this time was not even being called Abram or Hebrew, as we know they changed the name to at that time. But the Semitic languages were kind of being familiar even amongst the Hamitic people. There was no distinction at that time. The hieroglyphics and the Paleo-Hebrew, whatever, hadn't came into play yet. Because if you look at the Phoenicians, their language was kind of similar. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go on to Genesis. I don't want to get into, Exodus. Don't get into that too much and get sidetracked. I'm sorry. So Exodus 3 and 13 says this. It says, and Moshe said unto Yah, behold, when I come into the children of Israel and say unto them, the Elohim of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? How shall I say unto them? And Elohim said unto Moshe, I am that I am. He said, thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, I am that I am sent you unto me. And Yah said moreover unto Moses, thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, the Master Yah of your fathers, the God, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and Elohim of Jacob has sent me unto you, that this is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. So this lets me know what we are going through is not unprecedented in Scripture. They had been in Egypt for so long and had been around all these other Elohims of gods that they had forgot the name that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had called Yah. So what happened to us when we got kicked out of land? We forgot the name, right? Somewhat we know from the slave records about the name Yah. There are a lot of slaves carried the name Yah, but they didn't understand why they were saying Yah. They didn't understand. They just knew it was something. So that let me know when people say, well, we never called him that before. Yeah, we did. We just forgot. We forgot everything. We forgot our culture, everything. Now that we coming back into the knowledge, why are you getting mad at us down if we know? Because we know we don't even know who. We adapt to so many different culture, because it never solidified. But Yah is trying to bring us back into that knowledge, and everybody ain't coming back at the same time, but we know that there was a time that we did know. But the thing is, we didn't honor. We wasn't doing what with his name? We was taking his name in what? Vain. That's why he took it from us. Now that we want to understand, don't get mad at us because we are living a life, and we ain't taking that, and we ain't doing it like the people in the sacred name movement was doing. They were trying to tap into some secret power or something like that. Well, maybe just like with the name, the man that made the song Hallelujah. He was trying to find some secret note or something, some kind of evil thing that they was trying to tap into. We ain't trying to get into that. We just want to know his name so we won't take it in vain. We want to know what his real name is, all right? So let's go on to, and he said here, he said, Moses is saying, people don't know who to call you. What am I saying? He said, just tell them I am that I am. Now we know that in some Hebrew Israelite camp, they believe, because the word in Paleo Hebrew is a higher. They try to say that is his name, but he wasn't saying that per se. He was trying to say the name of the all-existent one, since you don't understand that, because he was going to show them later on. Just say that I am that I am. Just tell them I am that I am. I am going to be who I am. I need you to know that, and maybe I need to go back and study that a little bit more. But what I'm trying to tell you, his name is not I am. He was saying the identify of me is that I am. I exist within myself. I don't come because you said I'm here. I'm here because I want to be here. I was here from the beginning. I am that I am. What's that Popeye? You remember he used to sing that song? I am what I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
Oh yeah.
I am that I am. I am the Elohim. I am that I am. Just know that. You can put your money on it. Now later on he's gonna say something that's gonna be revelatory to them later on. Going to Exodus 2:5 and 23. Somebody read that.
You said Exodus chapter 5.
23. Yeah, read it.
For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people, neither hast thou delivered thy people at all.
So even Pharaoh, Yah wanted Pharaoh to know that he was back on the scene. So he had to know his name. 6 and 3.
And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of Elohim Almighty, but by my name,
Yahuah. Because there is no J, but you can say Jehovah if you want to.
Yahuah was I not known.
Okay, so here Yah is revealing a little bit more. Now he's telling Moses, my name is Jehovah. Now, before I was telling you I am that I am, now I'm giving you a little bit more information. So he was bringing it out slowly. He wasn't just giving it to them all at one time. So it's the same with us. These people have been enslaved. We know that they wasn't in slavery for 430 years total. We know that for, a good part that they was just, basically in there. But now he's saying, okay, you want a little bit more? I didn't reveal that part of who I was to Abraham. I didn't. But now I'm letting you know Yahuah. Okay, Yahuah, which is the Paleo Hebrew, it says Yahuah, not Jehovah. It's Yahuah. That's who I want you to know my name is. Yahuah. All right? So here he's bringing out a little bit more. So he's showing you, I'm going to tell you my name, but I'm giving it to you a little bit at a time, all right? So what's the next one? I said 9 and 16? Okay, read that.
And in every deed for his cause have I raised thee up, but to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth.
So Yah was saying, I want y'all as the Hebrews, as the nation of Israel, to declare my name throughout the whole earth. That's why when he said, don't take my name in vain, because it wasn't just them speaking it, but it was the way they was going to be living. I don't want you to take my name in vain by the way that not just you how you use it, but also how you live. Okay, so let's go to I'm gonna do 23 and 13. Let's see here. And he said, and in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect and make no mention of the name of other Elohims, whether it be heard out, neither let it be heard out of your mouth. So he was like, I don't want you to even speak the name of other Elohims or gods. Don't let it come out of your mouth. All right. And then going down to verse 21, he said, beware of him and obey. Okay, actually, I'm going to go to verse 20. He said, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. This is Yeshua. This is that, because when you see the scriptures got the word angel with a capital A. This is what Yeshua was talking about when he said, Moses them seen me. He was the one that was going through the desert with them. That's why when he said, you know, the Moses didn't feed you with the manna I did. I'm the one that when Moses smoked the rock when the angel had told him, which is Yeshua, and he struck it instead of speaking to it. He didn't get in the way because he said, don't provoke him, because he won't what? Pardon your iniquities, because my name is in him. My name is Yahuah. All right. So now let's go on. I'm gonna go into Leviticus. Well, let's go to the New Testament to bring some of this out. Okay, somebody get. Let's go to Matthew. I'm going to get Matthew 1 and 21. Somebody get Matthew 6 and 9. Somebody get Matthew 7 and 22, and then somebody get Matthew 12 and 21. Talking about his name. We don't want to take his name in vain, right? So let's go to the New Testament, as they try to say that, you know, this done away with. Let's see what Yahuah has to say. Yeshua has to say about that. Let's see what the angel them have to say about that. Okay, this is Matthew 1 and 21. This is the angel Gabriel talking to Mary. And he said, Miriam. And he said, and she shall bring forth a son, and she shall call his name. Now we got the name Jesus here, but the name is Yeshua, which means Yah saves, right? For he shall save his people from their sins. He said, now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the master by the prophet, saying, behold, a virgin shall be with child and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is Elohim with us. So that's what Yeshua means. It means, but it actually means Yah saves. All right, Yeshua. And Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the master had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not until she had brought forth her firstborn son, and called his name Yeshua. So it was going to be Yeshua, because the angel had told him this is the name. Just like, and he was furthermore revealing more about Yah. All right. So now let's go to Matthew 6 and 9. Still the same Yah, but he's just revealing more of himself. Right.
After this manner, therefore, pray ye, our Yahuah, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. All
right. So here you go. It must be even Yeshua right here. He said, when you pray, hallowed means sacred. Hallowed be thy name, Yahuah. And I am now, once Yeshua starts saying, my name is the name that the Father wants you to call on now in prayer because of the renewed covenant. That means his name is hallowed too, but Yahuah is still hallowed also, right? It is still hallowed too. He says sacred. He wasn't saying God. They wrote this in their language, right? But it was Yahuah, right? So that is now, again, like we said, we didn't know Yahuah. We just knew God. But we hallowed that to the best of our ability. But now that we know, how much more should we hallow his real name, right? So well, I'm used to saying God. I don't know about that Yahuah. You not hollering the name when you know that that's his name, and you just discounting it. You say, well, I just want to keep calling him God. He said, my name is Yahuah, actually. Now again, like I said, it's not saying that if you don't know who he is by you saying his name, even if you don't know him, that he's going to hear you, you need to have a relationship with him. But if you got a relationship with him, don't you want to know more about him, right? Even like your mom, when she first met me, she didn't know my nickname was Lenny, and I didn't tell her that. But after she found out, she said, I want to call you Lenny. That's what your family called you. She called me something else, right? All right, so let's go on to the next one. I said 7 and 22, right? Somebody read that.
Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works.
All right. So, okay, read verse 23. What I said, you need to have a relationship. But he did say in my name. So he did know that when they did it, it was going to do it in his name. That name was taken from us. But we knew him. So we had one part of it, but the name was being hidden from us. But we knew him. We knew him as Jesus. We knew him as God. But now that we know him, we got the whole thing, right? So go on, let's go to 12 and 1. Did I say 12? 21, I'm sorry, 12 and 21.
And in his name shall the Gentiles trust.
All right. So we know, just like we was reading about Tyndale, that they knew, even going into the Middle Ages, that Yeshua name and Yah name was Yahuah and Yeshua. They knew that. But they just wanted to translate it into their language instead of continuing to call them that. All right? Which again, like I said, the ordinary people at that time might have not known, so they can be forgiven. But those that do know, that knew, why did they take that and change it? All right. So now I'm gonna go back. We're gonna go right back to the Old Testament real quick. I'm just gonna go to Leviticus 18 and 21. We're trying to get as many scriptures in as we can. I'm gonna read Leviticus 18 and 21 real quick. Talking about his name. 18 and 21 reads, and he said, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy Elohim. I am the master. So he's saying, why would he put that in the same sentence as Moloch? Because they thought, people was thinking that Moloch was Yah. He said, you ain't going to profane my name by going and offering your children in the fire in the name of Moloch. When you carry my name in you, you profaning my name by doing that. Meaning, like we just said, whatever that scripture in the New Testament, he said, whatever you do in word or deed, do it in the name of Yeshua. All right, so it's the same back then. All right, so we're gonna go through some of the Psalms. The Psalms have a lot. We're gonna kind of skip around, but let's go to Psalms. Somebody get Psalms 9 and 10. Then somebody get Psalms 18 and 49. And then somebody get Psalms 22 and 22. And I'm going to get Psalms 20 and 5. Let's try to get a couple of them in. Well, actually, I'm going to go to Psalms. I'm going to go to Psalms 68 and 4. But y'all get the rest of the ones I asked for. Okay, read it.
And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Elohim, has not forsaken them that seek thee.
All right, 18 and 49.
Therefore will I give thanks unto thee, O Elohim, among the heathen, then, and sing praises unto thy name.
22 and 22.
I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the congregation will I praise thee.
Okay, and I got 68 and 4. It says, sing unto Elohim, sing praises to his name. Exalt him that rideth upon the heavens by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. So even right here, he was showing my name is Yahuah, Yah. All right. By his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. All right. Now we're going to go to Proverbs 30 and 4. Proverbs 30 and 4 reads, who has ascended up into heaven or descended? Who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has bound the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name, if thou can tell? See right here, so he was even revealing right there that he has a name, but also he got a son that has a name. And so when the angel came to Joseph, and what we just got through reading in Matthew, he was telling him the son name. His son name was Yeshua. Yah saves. You see? He said, he shall save his people from their sin. It wasn't nothing complicated about that. Yah save. Why did you have to change it to God? Why did you have to change it to Lord? It was simple, right? But again, we didn't know. But the powers that be did, and they knew. But the thing that they wasn't counting on, that Yah said he wants you to know him, just like Leon read. He said many gonna say, I know the real name, but they didn't have no relationship with him. He said, I never knew you. So you gotta know the person that you calling on the name, whether it's the right name or the wrong name. But it's now that we know the right name and we know him, let's say the right name. All right. So now we're gonna go back to the New Testament, and we're gonna go this time to. I'm gonna read Mark 13 and 6. But are you getting an understanding of what I'm trying to say about his name? You got to know the person who named you called, but he had a proper name that we knew, and he wanted it hallowed, right? So now that we know, it's not like the fake people in Israel try to say, oh, his name was so sacred, they could never say it. That's why we had to do the Tetragrammaton and call his name Adonai and all that. He wanted his people to call on his name, but he just said, I want you to call on it in truth. I don't want you to profane it, but I want you to declare my name to the world. So why would he hide it behind some sacred text or something? Huh? Why would he do that? He said, what we just got to read, he said, declare my name to the heathen. He said, in my name shall the heathens trust. In the name of my son, Yeshua. They're going to trust in that. Right? Mark 13 and 6.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach HaMashiach, and shall deceive many.
All right. So he said it's gonna be many that's gonna come, even in the false name they will come. But he said many will come in my name, saying that they was, you know, I'm the God that's gonna save you or whatever. So that's why we got to be careful, because we knew that after they got the languages, they corrupted the names, and then they tried to say these are sacred names and all these other kind of stuff. And it wasn't so much that it was gonna be some kind of magical thing. It's just that it was gonna be his real name. But they would make it into a mystical kind of thing. And that's why in Freemasonry and all these kind of secret societies, when you got to a certain level, they said, we're going to tell you what the real name of Yah is, or God is, or whatever. We're not having no relationship with them. It don't really matter. But the people that really love Yah or whatever didn't know the quote-unquote sacred name, but they knew him. But now that we know what the name is, it's not some kind of thing that we're going to like, we're going to proclaim his name as Yeshua. Or Yahuah, right? Nothing that we need to hide. You got to go through some initiation to find out what it is, right? Okay, so Luke, we'll go to Luke 24 and 47. And that reads, and that repentance and remission of sin should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. So when they start preaching about remission in the name, they used the word Yeshua. They were saying Yeshua because that's what it was in Hebrew. It was Yeshua. And in fact, when you go to Acts, and this was something telling to me, Acts 9. Yeah, here it is. Acts 9. This is the conversion of Paul. Acts 9 and 4. And it said, and he, talking about Paul, fell on the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? All right. And he said, who art thou, master? And the master said, I am Yeshua, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the prick. And he trembled and astonished and said, what wilt thou have me to do? And the master said, arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. Okay, so let me see where is it at? The way. And it was something where it said, he said to me in the Hebrew tongue, hold on. Okay, where is it at? Let's see. Okay, where is it at? Okay. Okay. What? And I fell down. I'm looking for where Paul talked about when he heard him talking to him in the Hebrew tongue. It said that Yeshua depart. Okay. I might have to come back to that one. But well, Paul was talking about when he had heard the vision from Yeshua, he was speaking to him in Hebrew. I'm trying to find the scripture. Where is it at?
Was he doing his conversion?
Yeah, it was later. It came later. It said, so hold on. Because remember, whenever Paul done went out to speak, they were speaking first to the Hebrews first and then to the Gentiles. So they spoke to them and Paul spoke several languages, including Hebrew. Okay, where is it at? Hebrew. Okay, so okay, well we'll come back to that. Okay, let's go to John 1 and 12. And then somebody get John 5 and 33, and then somebody get John 10 and 25.
John what? In the middle.
5 and 43 and 10 and 25.
Same name for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. It was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Yah.
Okay.
Even to them that believe on his name.
There. So you got to know that name. Now, we didn't know the real name because they're here, but the message lightened us at that time, because just like we seen, he didn't reveal his whole name to Abraham, but he revealed enough for Abraham to call on him. Then he revealed a little bit more to the Hebrews coming out of Egypt, but then he revealed a little bit more to the Hebrews when Yeshua came, right? So how he present himself to you in that name, you carry that name sacred. You don't take it in vain, right? So that's the important thing. Okay, go on to the next part, verse 5 and 43.
That all men should honor the Yeshua even as they honor the Almighty. He that honoreth not Yeshua honoreth not the Elohim which have sent him.
Okay, and then somebody get 10 and 25.
Jesus answered them, Yeshua answered them, I told you, and ye believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me.
Okay, so at that time, he was saying, in the name of Yahuah, I am doing this. But then we know later on, this is what Yeshua said in John. See, John, and I'm gonna read this for time. John 16 and 26 says this. It says, at that day ye shall ask in my name, and I will not say unto you that I will pray the Father for you. For the Father himself loveth you, because ye have loved me and have believed that I came out from Yah. All right, so he's saying there's going to become a time when you can present yourself to the Father through my name. Like my name got credibility with the Father, and you can come to him through my name for yourself. All right. All right, then 17 and 6 says this. I have manifested thy name. This is Yeshua praying to Yahuah. He said, I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world. Thine they were, and thou givest them unto me, and they have kept thy word. So he said the revelation of my name is been given to them. The further revelation of my name, Yeshua, and now they got it, Father. All right. Then let's go to Hebrews 1 and 4 and Hebrews 2 and 12. When you get it, read it. 1 and 4. And 2 and 12. Showing you how the name is real important to Yah.
Being made so much better than the angels, as ye have by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they.
Mm-hmm.
For unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee.
Which goes back to what we were saying in Proverbs. What is his name? He said his name is Yeshua, and it's the more excellent name. All right? Because he has a name, and he said my son got a name. So his name is on the same level as mine, right? Then 2 and 12.
Saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee.
All right. Okay, so now, let me see. Let's go to Ephesians 1 and 21. So would you say after us reading all this that it's very important to know his name and to hallow it and not take it in vain?
Yes.
Okay, Ephesians 1 and 21, it said, for far above all principality and power and might and dominion and every name that is named, not only in this world, but also that in that which is to come, and has put all things under his feet, and gave him to be the head over all things to the assembly, which is Israel, which is his body, in the fullness of him that filleth all in all. So he said in his name, is all these things are put up under his feet, in his name. Somebody get Revelations 2 and 16, and then we're gonna go on it and end, because it's many other scriptures I can give, but I think we're getting the idea that the name, we were not supposed to take his name in vain, because when he came, when he gave more further revelation, he wanted the people to know about his name, so that we should take it, serious. Revelation 2 and 17, and then we're going to end. Read it.
Repent, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna. I will give him the white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that receiveth it, and unto the angels of the church in Thyatira.
Just that one verse. All right. So he's saying, even our name, because we need a new name. We got the name of our slave masters. you know, all the things behind that. I'm not so inclined myself to go change my name per se. Not that I wouldn't want to, but I'm waiting for the new name that he gonna give me, you know. And my understanding is, you know, is Yah and all these things with him, that hopefully that's gonna be around the lines that he gonna give us that new name, you know. If he gonna have the names of the 12 tribes of Israel on the stones, that means he ain't gonna do away with the Ivrim of the Hebrew language, right? So that means he gonna rename, give us a new name, right? Probably coming out of the Bible. We know that in the black community, a lot of mothers used to name are used to name their children names out of the Bible, like we named Micah. You know, we named you out of the Bible.
I didn't even know that's what his name is.
You didn't? It's Mike. The word when we say Michael, it's actually Micah. Yeah.
I was shocked.
Because L, they just put the L on it, which is he that has power with Yah.
Who was like.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
The
I
prince
found it,
over.
I was like, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
God gives you your name.
Yeah.
You know what your name's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Before you're even born. And I was like, so.
Yes. So will we say that it's something that we can do, not take his name in vain? Will we all agree that not taking the name of Yah is something good to do, not something to say that we can't do, right? Right?
Right.
Do we agree with that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we down to 7. So we know we don't have to have any other gods, Elohim, before him. We know that we don't have to have. We can keep away from the graven images, and we know that we can not take his name in vain. So if there's no other questions, we're gonna go ahead and end lesson. So.